Thought it added something to it. Anyways, what is so sad, Dustin? I'm glad you asked. I ran across this comment not even that long ago. Um, Things are finally starting to wind down today. Um, and literally before doing anything, I just logged in, checked messages, stuff like that, right? Normal stuff after your day's over and you got time for yourself. And I saw this comment um, off of a comment that I had left. It said, at this point, I know more Game of Thrones history than I do real world history. And I mean, a lot of people might be like that too, whatever they're into. They might know more about that than what has gone on in real life or is going on in real life. I get that. But when it comes to actually retaining information, like you guys all went through the same public school system I did, right? And supposedly, for when I started going to school back in the 80s up until now, you guys should be smarter than me, right? I mean, I think that. Maybe I'm giving you too much credit. But for the most part, I believe everybody that goes to school after me should be smarter than me because they just continually add information to it. There's no excuse that I can sit here and remember everything from school, and you have somebody that's like 20 years younger that's like, nope, but I can tell you Game of Thrones. That is dramatically sad, especially considering the fact that Game of Thrones in its entirety is basically telling you the entire story of the royal family of England. So, I mean, in a way, you do know your own history, but it's so gobbled and messed and just completely wrong, right? Like, take let's take somebody I'm directly related to, Henry the Sixth. Did you know that Henry the Sixth is technically split up over 3 to 4 different characters in that show? Did you know that? So you can't really say it's real life. I mean, you do have one-to-one comparisons, but still, there's no excuse for you to know more about a fictional history than your own. As I've already set up and established, everybody that has gone to school after me, you guys only got more information fed to you. So how do you guys not remember what I do? Just very weird. Just very weird to me. So, but let's go off on that because you actually do know your own history. Like literally taking Game of Thrones in context, uh, Aegon's conquest is essentially Henry Plantagenet, Henry II, coming over and just dominating. Just coming over from France and straight dominating all the fiefdoms and lords and everything of England back then. Just dominating their asses. It's crazy. So I mean, technically, you can say you do know your history, but it's not even close to a one-to-one comparison. Never, nada, zip, zilch. Period. But it is kind of funny that if you take into context the dragons in Game of Thrones, those were like literally siege towers and catapults and newer weapons than what the English had when Plantagenet went over there and just like took over and established the entire royal line that would rule all the way through till Henry the Sixth. Technically, you could say Henry the Seventh, Henry the Eighth, but I mean, even in Game of Thrones, like they'll call it out and say, young Griff is Henry Tudor, and Henry the Seventh really wasn't Lancaster. He really wasn't had any kind of claim to the throne, right? Because he was, Lancaster. He was Plantagenet by his mother's side, which automatically back then you have no claim to nothing. So technically, you could say he was the false king out of the whole thing. But it's just stuff like that. It's like, how can I remember that? Because that's what you're taught in school. But you can remember the Game of Thrones version better than your actual real version. It's just it's very sad, very very sad. Your brain is a muscle, ladies and gentlemen. Your mind is a weapon. Why don't you use it more? Why don't you sharpen it? Why do you look for dopamine hits instead of using this thing right here to make yourself smarter? But that would also require work, which means you would have to find out a fact and then cross check it across multiple sources to make sure what you have read or heard or seen is the right thing. Do you want to do that kind of work? Probably not. And that's probably why I remember it and you don't. Y'all have a good night.